Hello. I pray that you're having a very, very, very blessed week. We're going to hop right into topic. Today I am going to be speaking on invisible boxes. Invisible boxes. What are these invisible boxes? There are boxes that we have, inner boxes that we take and we store things. And so many of us don't even realize that we have these boxes. I didn't even realize I had these boxes until things begin to fall over and flow out of these boxes. And I'll tell you, when that happens, it's one big mess. So I come before you today wanting to help you understand how these boxes become, how we take and mentally and emotionally create these boxes, and how we avoid these boxes from tipping over, which makes it bad for us and everybody around us. So here we go. Bear with me. I am going to be speaking from Ephesians 4:31 out of NLT. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, and harsh words and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior. And I am going to break down to give you a better understanding of bitterness, rage, anger, harsh words, and slander. What is bitterness? Lack of sweetness, anger, and disappointment at being treated unfairly. What is rage? Unconditional anger that can be violent. What is anger? An emotional state of aggravation and hostility towards someone or something. What is harsh words? Cruel and unpleasant. And what is slander? The action or crime of mentally or false statements spoke to damage a person or that person's reputation. So I just wanted to break that down because what I'm wanting to do is just give you a very, very clear understanding of this verse and help you better understand it. That way, in return, you're able to better apply it. Okay, so get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, and harsh words and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior. Okay, and what does this have to do with these invisible boxes? These things push us to this place. They push these boxes to be flipped over. So I'm going to give you a little insight on these invisible boxes. These are boxes that we take and we store within us. We store them within our minds, within our hearts. We store them when people hurt us, when people let us down, when people aggravate us. We store them with work hurt, which we put in what we put in these boxes: work hurt, church hurt, family hurt, anything that we don't want to deal with, and we just drop them into these boxes. Have you ever felt like I'm not worried about that anymore. I don't care about that, but it was something that really hurt you? Where do you think that went? If you never really let it go, if you never really released it, if you never gave it to God and He never removed it, where do you think that went? That went into one of these boxes. In relationships, when we've dealt with relationship hurt and we've went through a bad relationship and we've moved on from that person or that situation, but we've still never really been healed from it, because most people, they don't allow themselves to go through the proper stages of healing. You just move on to something else or push it to the side, or you fall back in love for a second, and now you have all these things that are pushed and placed in these boxes, not even knowing that they're being put in these boxes, but they're being put in these boxes. And what happens after so long of being put in these boxes begin to be so filled, and it just takes the right thing, the right person to come along at the right moment and put something on top of all that mess that's already there, and that box tumbles over. So when God's word says get rid of all anger, bitterness, rage, and harsh words and slander, as well as all evil behaviors, what we have to understand is if we have to get rid of these things. We can't allow these things to take root up in us, because what happens is we have these boxes and we have all this hurt, we have all this frustration, we have all this aggravation, we have all this anger, we have all these people that are in these boxes that we don't deal with anymore. We don't want anything to do with them. So we take and we drop them and everything we knew about them in that box, because we don't want anything to do with them. We have everything that we went through on that job that hurt us. We take it and we drop it in this box because we want to forget it. We don't want anything to do with it. We have all these memories from our childhoods where we were hurt or neglected or mistreated, and we don't want to have any remembrance of them. So we take them and we drop them all in these boxes because we don't want to remember them. We don't want anything to do with them. So these boxes are formed, and there are so many of them, so many of these boxes. If you were to think of a library and how it has bookshelves, and you have all these books that are being stored on all these shelves, that's how these boxes are. They're being stored within our mind. They're being stored within our hearts. And we don't want to do that, because we don't want it to get to the place so where when it comes time for us to stand before the Lord on Judgment Day, and we have stones there, we have those invisible boxes there of hate that people we didn't forgive when we should have forgave, because we thought that we forgave them, but we really didn't forgive them. We just took and placed everything that they did to us, everything that we went through, we placed it in that invisible box. So I just want to touch topic on that and just go over that, because like I said, so many of us don't even understand that we have them. I didn't even understand that I was taking and I was storing these invisible boxes until I began to realize that they were flipping over. And they were flipping over, and things would be all over the place, and I couldn't figure out why things were all over the place, until one day God began to give me understanding and revelation of what was taking place. I had so much anger, so much hate build up within inside of me, and I thought it was things that I had moved on from. I thought it was people that I had forgiven. I thought it was situations that I had forgot about, but in reality, I hadn't forgiven them. I hadn't forgot about them. I hadn't moved on from those situations. I was just taking and putting all those things in this box. So what happened is now I'm going along with my life, and other things are taking place, and I'm taking and I'm placing that on top of the box. So we know, just like any box, any square box, after so long that box gets full after putting so many things on top. So now you have stuff all over the top. So what happens when it's on the top? It begins to tumble over outside of the box, and now you have a mess that's on the floor. And after so much of filling that box up, after filling that box up over and over and over with things, then eventually that box is going to tip over, and now you have a big mess which rolls over into our life. Things are crazy. Things are all over the place. We can't figure out what's going on with us mentally. We can't figure out what's going on with us emotionally. We can't figure out what's going on with the house, with the children, because we aren't able to properly function due to these boxes that are flipped over. God forbid more than one flips over at one time. And when it may not even be anybody that's done us anything. It may not even be anybody that took and put 20, 30 things in this box. But all they have to do is come walking alone and place one thing on top of this box that's already full, and we flip out on them. We blow up on them. We lose our minds and go crazy, and we're ready to strangle and choke them because we feel like they're the issue. But in reality, they're not the reason why that box was full in the first place. Yes, maybe they did take and put something on top of that box which made it tumble over, but they aren't the reason that that box is full. So we can't take anger out on that person due to the fact that we're going through whatever we're going through. So what does this have to do with Ephesians? Get rid of all bitterness, rage, anger, and harsh words and slander, as well as all types of evil behavior. We have to get rid of bitterness. We can't allow bitterness, rage, anger to take root within us. We have to get rid of those things. We have to release those things and free ourselves of those things. How do we free ourselves of those things? We have to pray and ask God to remove hurt from us, to remove past hurt, to touch us and bless us to where we're able to forgive where we've been hurt. We're able to forgive those whom hurt us. We're able to move past these things. We're not allowing rage to take place up in us. We're not allowing what we've been through to push us to a place to where we're allowing it to take root within us. And in return, we're only hurting ourselves. We're only allowing seeds to be placed within us that are going to keep us out of God's glory, that are going to keep us from pushing forward and moving forward and being successful in the areas that we should be being successful in. Anger, because we aren't having the very best day, because of these boxes are full, and because things are flowing over, and because we aren't really sure of what's taking place. And we're angry. We're angry with everybody. We're angry for no reason. We're angry. We wake up angry. We go to sleep angry. Can't figure out what's what. Can't figure out why we feel this way. It's because these boxes are full. And why are these boxes full? Because we're allowing these things to take root up in us. We're allowing these things to take root up in us. We're not properly releasing them. We're not properly properly allowing God to deal with these things. We're not properly dealing with these things. We're only taking and pushing them to the back. We're acting like and pretending and probably truly believing that we are free from these things, but in reality, we're not free. There's probably a lot of you that are dealing with past hurt, a lot of you that are dealing with recent hurt that you think you've moved on from. You've probably been saying, I'm good, I'm fine, I've gotten over that, I've gotten over that person, I've moved past that situation, I'm no longer angry with that job, when in reality, you are still hurt. You are still angry. You hadn't completely got over it. You just took all of those things and placed them in one of these boxes that are only hindering you from pushing forward, that are only hindering you from going to the next level, that are only keeping you in a place of depression, and you probably don't even understand why you're depressed. So many of us, we can't understand why at times we're depressed when we don't have any reasons to be depressed. It may not be anything that's going on in that moment, in that season, in that day that has you depressed. It could be something that took place in last season, something that took place in last month, last year, that has you down and depressed because you hadn't properly freed it. You hadn't properly moved past it. So it is still affecting you. So slander, evil words, when these things are taking place, when these boxes are overflowing, we allow anger and hate and rage once again to come out of us. Now we're taking and we're being we're angry and we're rude and we're tearing everybody down around us because we're going through something. We're tearing everybody down around us because we found ourselves in a place that we don't realize why we're in that place. We can't figure out why we're in that place. So we're taking it out on everybody else when that's not the proper way to do it. Slander. It's a crime of making a false statement spoken or damage a person. And this also goes with why one of these boxes were created. Due to slander, due to people making false statements, due to people speaking things that's not true, due to people trying to purposely take us down and drag us down. So this is why we even create, this is why we even create these boxes. It's due to people that do things like this, that try and hurt us, that try and drag us down, but we can't allow those people to push us into a place of once again to where we're hindering ourselves, to where we're hurting ourselves. We have to forgive, we have to forget, and we have to move on. I heard a powerful prophet say that we have to forgive and we have to forget, or we never get the strength to move on. But we're taught to forgive but not forget. But really, we have to forgive and we have to forget, because if we don't forget, then we never are truly able to move on from that situation, because it comes up and comes up and comes up. And when it comes up, we always click into a place to where now we're remembering again. And that's what the devil does. He uses things of the past to try and keep us hindered, to keep us in a place to where he's able to get the glory out of our lives, because we're so busy focused on that situation, when most of the time that situation is a situation that took place weeks and months and years ago. But all we have to do is think back and remember what took place, who said what, when it happened, and we begin to find ourselves sinking into this place and into this mode to where we're angry all over, like that situation just took place. So I just come before you today encouraging you to not build up these boxes, to allow yourself to be in the place to where you're completely free, and not just thinking you're free, not just believing you're free, but you are completely free by taking and asking God to remove any of these boxes, if you have any, to take and cleanse them, to restore them. I didn't even realize I was putting these boxes up. And what are these boxes? They're also walls. We put up these walls because we want to keep everybody and everything out. I remember I would put up so many walls because I didn't want to deal with certain people. I didn't want to deal with certain situations. I just didn't want to deal with it. So what I said is, I'm going to take it, I'm going to put a wall up, and I'm going to block the whole outside world out. I'm going to block the whole outside world out so nobody can get in. But do you know what I realized? I realized that I wasn't blocking everybody out. I was taking and blocking myself in. I had put up walls all over, all around, and I only blocked me in. So when I was ready to be in a place to where I wanted to experience joy again, I wanted to experience love again, I wanted to experience and feel life, live life to the fullest, I couldn't, because I had put up so many walls due to these invisible boxes, due to people hurting me, due to me not properly dealing with situations, due to me taking and just storing everything in a certain place, never truly dealing with these things. I took and I blocked myself in. So when I was ready to come out of that room, out of that place with those brick walls, I didn't even realize they were brick walls that I was putting up. But what I realized, what I found out, and if you're one of these people that have these walls up, the only way to remove these walls is for Jesus to remove them. I put the walls up, but I couldn't remove the walls when I was ready to take the walls down, when I was ready for them to be removed. Only Jesus could remove those walls. And I'm going to be honest, some of them took years to remove. I was praying and saying, Lord, why am I still not feeling this? Why am I, lacking emotion in this area? Why am I not being able to fully trust in this area? Why am I not able to fully allow people in this area? And it was because I had blocked everybody and everything out, from emotion to people to situations. I took and blocked everybody and everything out, thinking that I was protecting me when really I was hurting me. Not being knowledgeable. God's word says that we perish due to lack of knowledge. So I just sit before you today wanting to make you more knowledgeable, praying I'd help you become more knowledgeable, because like I said, we don't even understand that we have these boxes. We don't even understand that we take and place things in these boxes, storing them in the storeroom, only to come back later and hurt us, to hinder us, to help keep us down in a place of depression, to help keep us in a place to where we're moving forward, because we can't move forward if we're steady looking back, and behind us we have so many things stored that are old, that should have been throughout, that should have been situations where we should have been healed from, but we weren't properly healed. We just got it sitting back there, just waiting for it to flip over and roll out. And now we're stepping all in a mess that should have never been a mess. It should have been cleaned up years ago. So I love you. God bless you. I pray that this word helped you in some way, form, or fashion. God bless you.